I did want to spend kind of looking at the topics for the week and some of the topic areas. I thought this might be of some interest. Everybody loves talking about responsibility. It's a really sexy topic, so I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it. But I've been working with our life sciences team here at Microsoft now for almost 6 years. Healthcare is an area that's personal for me. My wife's a nurse. I've got a daughter who's a hospital pharmacist, another one that's in med school. So this was us sitting around Thanksgiving table talking about healthcare, talking about challenges in that area. So deeply personal to me, and I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy working with our customers in this space. So audience participation moment. How many of you are optimistic and excited about the potential of AI to help you in your everyday lives? All right, I love that. How many of you are concerned about the risks of AI in your work and everyday lives? Yeah, me too. And so are we as a company. So it's really important that we get this right, and we feel some responsibility to lead this area from the front. We've got the resources to do it. We've got the platform that a lot of our customers and partners are using. So not only are we building the platform for development and the platform for our solutions like Copilot that our end users are using in responsible ways, we're building that framework and making those the way that we do that public and available to consume for our partners that are developing solutions in this space as well. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I mentioned that healthcare was personal to me. It's also personal for our CEO, Satya. So as you may be aware, his son passed away a couple years ago from cerebral palsy, 26 years old. When you look at our investments in different industries across Microsoft, and you look at specifically where we're investing with Microsoft Research, there's a ton going into the healthcare side of the house, and especially now with the investments in AI. Initiatives like AI for health, initiatives like AI for science, these are all going to help us with areas like drug discovery, helping to tackle some of the big problems of our healthcare time. I don't think it's a silver bullet by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there's a lot that we can do together to improve healthcare using these tools. And what I'm really excited about, just from an individual productivity perspective, is kind of taking away some of the drudgery from the everyday work for us, right? So as industry, and we specifically saw this after COVID, the amount of productivity, the amount of creation that people that are hired to do creation get to do anymore is 20 to 30% of their day job. The rest of it is spent collaborating with other people. So that's on the phone, it's in meetings, and this is not time that's spent creating, which is what a lot of us get paid to do every day. So I'm optimistic specifically that these tools are going to help us to reduce some of that. It's not noise, it's important. All the collaboration is important. But there's ways we can do this more efficiently using AI and get us back to the business of creating and making us more efficient at that as well. So I looked around the room when I asked that question. This is pretty consistent with what this study showed. About 75% of people really optimistic about what the tech can do. About 75% also really concerned about what the tech can do in the wrong hands. So I'll talk a little bit about our approach on developing some swim lanes and some guardrails to protect us from poor uses of the technology. And it starts with our AI principles. So across the top there, fairness. We want this technology not only to be available to the masses, but to represent the masses. So that goes back to the data that we use to train the models, the data that we use to ground the search results. So that data is representative not just of a certain subsection of the population, but of everybody, and it represents everybody. Reliability and safety. We don't want people to get bad surprises when they're asking questions or asking AI to do something for them by returning something that's offensive or something that's dangerous. In the case of healthcare, we're building in guardrails to protect against that. Privacy and security. One of the most important things I think in our implementations of this technology is that your data is your data when you use our platform at your company for AI or for anything else. It's just an extension of the rest of the solutions that we develop. But your data is not used to train the large language models, right? Your data is contained within your tenant, within an area that only people that are authorized within your company to access that data can get to. And more as important, that when you ask Copilot, as an example, to answer a question for you, it's only using the data that you already have access to. So if I went out to a search engine within my company and said, I want to tell me something about all the raises that people got at this company this year, I don't have access to that. And Copilot couldn't answer that for me either, because it asks those questions in the context of who I am. Inclusiveness, we talked about. Transparency, this one's super important, that as a user, you get to find out where did that data come from. Some of it's just baked into the model, but that's public data. But when we return a result from you with Copilot, we tell you we grounded that data with data from these links, right? So you can go back and look and say, do I believe that source? Does that seem like a reliable source to me? But that's all equally important. And accountability, so that if things go wrong, you have recourse with us to address it and correct it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because we did spend a lot of time in other tracks talking about new risks that are created with generative AI. We build generative AI systems. Our responsible framework is built around the NIST risk management framework. And this isn't a framework that's specific to AI, but it's one that we're using for AI. We start with mapping and identifying, prioritizing the risks. We measure those risks and the impact of mitigations to the risks, and then we manage or mitigate those identified risks. Our approach, we talked about principles already. Essentially 3 pillars underneath the principles. We build standards, say this is the standards that our AI solutions have to be built to. We implement against those standards using processes, training, and tools. And then we have oversight to monitor and report on how we're doing against that. And to get just a little further into what that looks like from a tooling perspective, anytime we're developing an AI solution, whether it's one that we're going to deliver to our customers or one that we're using internally, it has to go through this process, initiating with a project overview to identify what are we trying to do with the system, who are the stakeholders, what's the intended uses, and then we get to drill into what are the potential adverse impacts of leveraging AI for this specific solution. What are the data requirements? Do we have access to that data? Who has permission to it? Can we control who gets access to that data when we use it as part of the solution? And then taking all of those inputs, coming up with a summary of the impact and getting approval and review of that we've got the mitigations in place to control those and mitigate those risks. Red teaming, if you're familiar with kind of standard software development processes, this is basically we have an entire team that's dedicated to smoke testing these solutions. That this isn't new either. We have these teams for non-AI solutions, but we purpose them for our AI solutions as well. These are guys who their entire day job is to break the stuff that we write, but we feed them and arm them with the specific risks that we were aware of, that we identified in the development process. And then we've got tools that help to identify the risks that we didn't already know about. So I got to slide on that a little bit later, or I think right here. A couple of tools that we've got. Pirate is a Python tool that takes the unit tests that our developers have used to kind of test against the known risks, and it can use AI to test against AI and find risks that perhaps we hadn't thought about. And then the manual testing of these solutions just doesn't scale. So once we've done that, we've got tools available to our customers that we've first started using internally as part of our development platform to allow you to automate that testing. I'm not going to talk through these. You can get all these resources, aka.ms/RAI.